students. So today I am going to discuss about the other properties of the colloidal systems. That is a important property of the colloid, that is coagulation. This is also called as the flocculation. This is coagulation number. Flocculation number. Leave that part. First we have to understand what is the meaning of the coagulation. See, colloidal system is a heterogeneous system. Dispersion, medium and dispersed phase. The particles of the dispersed phase are distributed in the dispersion medium. That we know repeatedly we are saying. And there are two types of colloids. There are liofilic colloid, solvent loving colloids, solvent liking colloids, more stable, and solvent hating colloids, they are called as the liophobic colloids. It is easy to prepare the liofilic colloids just by adding the dispersed phase, the material of the dispersed phase to the dispersion medium. You can prepare adding the gum to the water and stir it, add the starch and stir it, add the gelatin and stir it. Easily the colloidal system is formed. See here, and now what are going to talk? Coagulation, flocculation, the other term. What is the meaning of it? It is nothing but we discussed about it's exactly opposite to the preparation of the colloidal solutions. Opposite to the preparation of the colloidal solutions. In the colloidal solution preparation, we made the dispersed phase to distribute within the dispersion medium. Now what we are doing, dispersed phase is removed from the dispersion medium. So this is the colloidal system. Dispersed phase particles. Now what we are doing, that is we are removing we are separating the particles of the dispersed phase from the dispersion medium. The process of separation of the dispersed phase from the colloidal solution is called as the coagulation or flocculation. How to remove? They combine and they should be converted into the bigger particles. The colloidal particles should be converted into the bigger particles. That is conversion, suspension. So in this process, what happens when it is separated? It becomes the suspension. So the process of conversion of the colloidal solution into suspension is called as the coagulation or flocculation. The other definition. Colloidal solution is converted into the suspension is called as that is coagulation or flocculation. The third thing is you are separating. This is called as if the dispersed phase comes out in the form of a solid, it is called as the precipitate. The process of precipitation of the dispersed phase, the process of converting separating the dispersed phase in the form of the precipitate is called as that is coagulation or flocculation. So separating the dispersed phase of the colloidal system in the form of precipitate, converting the colloidal solution into suspension is coagulation. That is the process of separation of the colloidal particles from the colloidal solution is called as that is coagulation or flocculation. So that is suspension to colloidal solution is peptidation. Colloidal solution to suspension is coagulation. Coagulation is the exactly reverse of that is the peptidation. In the peptidation process, the freshly prepared precipitate is converted into that is colloidal solution by disintegrating that is solid particles into small particle that is converted into the colloidal system that is called as that is peptidation. It is exactly reverse of the peptidation process. So now breaking the colloidal solution. Breaking of milk is example of that is coagulation. Separation of the RBC, blood is in that is a colloidal solution. Separation of the biological cells from the blood is called as the coagulation. So there are two types of colloidal systems. So first let us discuss about the coagulation procedures adopted for that is leophobic colloids which are less stable. We are keeping that is colloidal particles in the dispersion medium in leophobic colloids. See the stability is, whether it is a leophilic or leophobic, we know that the colloidal solutions are, in the colloidal solution, colloidal particles are charged particles due to the preferential adsorption or due to the ionization of that is the acid type of materials and base type of materials. The colloidal particle acquires the charge, positive or negative charge. Some of the colloidal particles, colloids are the positively charged, some of the colloidal systems are negatively charged. This you know. The charge only responsible for that is stability of the colloidal system. Due to the charge, that is, they cannot come. All colloidal particles of the given colloidal system possess the same charge. Therefore, they cannot come and combine to convert into the bigger particle, suspension particle. So the charge present on the colloidal particle is responsible for the stability of the colloidal system. 2. The charge present on the colloidal particles is preventing the conversion of the colloid into suspension, that is a coagulation process, separation of the dispersed phase from the dispersion medium, that is coagulation. Now how to separate? The only one thing, that is this to be removed, charge to be removed. Best way is the one way, important way, or that the most commonly used procedure is how to convert how to separate, that is remove use the technique which eliminates the charge from the colloidal particles. Once the colloidal particles lose their charge, the colloidal particles combine each other and convert into the bigger particle, which is the range of that is suspension. So there are several ways that is to convert the colloid into suspension, that is coagulation. 1. Persistent dialysis. A colloidal system to exist, there must be a charge on the colloidal particles. The ions must be preferentially absorbed on the surface of the colloidal particle. It may be a negative charge or it may be a positive charge. Charge is responsible. Charge is due to the ions, preferentially absorption of the ions. So what is the dialysis? The process of removal of the electrolyte from the colloidal solution is called as the dialysis. Dialysis is the dialysis or electrodialysis is the one of the procedures of purification of the colloids. So that is the excess of the electrolyte associated with the colloidal solution is removed by using a procedure known as the dialysis that we discussed, electrodialysis. So due to the dialysis of the electrolytic solution, the electrolytic part, that is ions present in the colloidal solution, that is comes out, and concentration of the ions electrolyte in the electrolytic solution decreases due to the dialysis. So in the normal purification procedure, we are not totally eliminating, we are removing the colloidal particle, that's we are removing the electrolytic part to the desired level. So due to the removal of that, the stability is not affected. So now what we have to do is, so persistent dialysis. If the dialysis is continuously carried, concentration of the electrolyte in the electrolytic solution, that's a colloidal solution, gradually decreases. The charge on the particles, these are the ions of the electrolyte preferentially adsorbed. The adsorbed ions also comes out, and that is take part in the dialysis, comes out of the semi-permeable membrane, parchment membrane. Due to this, what happens, that is due to continuous dialysis, the concentration of, that is the charge on the colloidal particle decreases due to the further, that is coming out of the ions which are absorbed also desorbed and comes out of the, that is colloidal system. Concentration decreases, metal ion concentration decreases, that is the charge, colloidal solutions lose the charge or decrease the charge. Once the charge is decreased, what happens, the colloidal particle cannot exist. Colloidal particle is existing due to the charge only. The particles without charge, they combine and convert into the bigger particle, which is considered as a coagulation, that is converting into the suspension. So this is one way is that is coagulation, that is conversion of the dispersed phase from the dispersion medium of a colloidal system, and can be done by the conducting that is the dialysis. The same way, in the case of the kidney failure patients, that is on the machine, electrodialysis is carried, the blood is passed through the machine where that dialysis, that is unwanted things are eliminated from the blood, that is it to be totally not eliminated, that is it to be eliminated to the desired level, that is reduced to the desired level. If the total electrolyte or the other unwanted things are eliminated, then what happens? That blood is a colloidal system, they coagulate and the lumps of the blood are formed, the blood vessels are clogged, the patient will die. So that is only to certain extent, that is unwanted electrolytes are removed. Here we are almost removing that is total electrolyte, but colloidal particles are become that is chargeless and combine and convert into that is suspension, separated. The next one is the electrophoresis process. In the other class we discussed about the electrophoresis. What is electrophoresis? That is that's electrolysis of the colloidal solution indirectly. The movement of when the electrolysis is carried, colloidal particles are the charged particle, that is they have the positive charge or negative charge. When the colloidal solution is kept in the electric field, then what happens? If the colloidal particles are positively charged, they move towards the negatively charged cathode. If they are negatively charged, they move towards the positively charged anode. That is, during the electrolysis, the ions, colloidal particle, charged colloidal particles move towards the oppositely charged electrode. That is, the movement of the colloidal particles towards a particular electrode is called as during the electrolysis, or under the electric field is called as the electrophoresis. That is, the mobility of the colloidal particles in the electric field is called as the electrophoresis. It is not a special phenomena, it is a simple phenomena, just like the electrolysis of the simple electrolytic solutions. So what happens if the electrolysis is carried, that is this is the negatively charged cathode, this is the positively charged, this is cathode, this is anode, positively charged anode. Here the colloidal particles are say the positively charged, they move towards this side. So they are existing in the solution, colloidal solution, due to charge present on the colloidal particle, due to differential adsorption. Once this is the positively charged like this, then what happens? It moves towards, during the electrolysis, in the electric field, it moves towards the cathode. What it do? The common phenomena is the ion to move towards the opposite charged electrode, and there it lose the charge by taking the electrons or by giving the electron. This is the positively charged, that is O plus electron gives O, that is colloidal particle becomes chargeless. This is supplying the electrons to the positively charged, that the anions give the electrons to the anode. Reduction here, oxidation here. So this takes place, that is during the electrophoresis, that is colloidal particles move towards a particular charged electrode, there they lose the charge. The electric field is helping, that is the losing of the charge of the colloidal particles. Due to this what happens? That is a charge is lost, and they are closer to each other at the electrode, the small, the droplets are combined each other and converted to the suspension level. The precipitation takes place at the electrode. Precipitate is formed at this electrode. Anyhow, by using the electrolysis technique, that is, we are decomposing the colloidal solution into the dispersion medium and suspension. So that is the process called electrophoresis technique is used. More commonly used techniques, these are effective techniques also. By mixing the oppositely charged colloids. See what is the meaning of this? So the colloidal system, given colloidal system has a positive charge, colloidal particles have the positive charge or negative charge. In total, colloidal solution is electrically neutral. If the dispersed phase is positively charged, dispersion medium is negatively charged due to the counter ions, and vice versa. So now if you take this is the colloidal system, this is arsenous sulfide, AsS3, it is negatively charged colloid, because sulfide ions are, that is, adsorbed on the surface of this. So this is and it is take the word ferric hydroxide. If the ferric chloride is heated with the hot water, that is ferric hydroxide, colloidal solution is formed with the positive charge. This is the ferric hydroxide, FeOH taken thrice. This is the positively charged colloid due to the preferential adsorption of ferric ions. So this is colloidal solution, but charge on the colloidal particles is exactly opposite. This ferric hydroxide is a positively charged colloid, and this is the negatively charged colloid due to the selective adsorption of here sulfide ion, here ferric ions are selectively adsorbed on the surface. So due to this charge, that is, they are stable. Due to this charge, they are stable. Now what we are doing? We are eliminating the charge. If these two are mixed, that is ferric ion, the free sulfide ions, the ferric ion present here combined with the sulfide ion to give the Fe2S3, ferric sulfide is formed. That is, precipitation is formed. The charge present on the arsenous sulfide is neutralizing the positive charge present on the ferric hydroxide. Or other way, you can say the other way. See, whatever it is, that is, one is eliminating the charge on that one, that is arsenous sulfide becomes chargeless, ferric hydroxide becomes chargeless. Once they become the charge, chargeless, they lose the charge, that is, they combine ferric hydroxide the droplets or the colloidal particles combine to form the suspension form. Similarly, this combines and forms the suspension form. That is, both are coagulated. Right? Both are coagulated. So that is here by mixing the opposite charged colloids. The clouds are the colloidal system. Water droplets are, air is the dispersion medium, and that is water droplets is the dispersal phase. The clouds have the charge. If the oppositely charged the clouds come closer to each other, then what happens? That the neutralization takes place, they lose their charge and droplets combine and convert into the rain. So this is the one way of mixing that is oppositely charged. The next one is the heating process. This is, you can take the anything, that is the, you take that this is Ag, Cl or AgBr, AgI. Here the Ag plus ions are combined. So the other day we prepared the silver iodide colloidal solution by adding the potassium iodide to the excess of silver nitrate solution. For the positively charged colloid is formed due to the preferential adsorption of the excessively present silver ion on the silver iodide. This is the positively charged silver iodide. This is formed. See what you are doing now. We are not adding anything. You are eliminating that just heating is carried. Heating or mechanical action. Due to the heating, what happens? That is, here they are adsorbed on this. Adsorption. A weak attractions are established between the free silver ions and surface of the silver iodide. As you increase the temperature, heating is carried, then what happens? These are dissolved from the ions or dissolved from the solution. That is surface of this one. Why they are dissolved? The attractions are weak due to the heating. The ions acquire the charge, kinetic energy. With that kinetic energy, they can overcome the attractions. Or we can say that is, this is continuously bombarded by say this is water molecule dispersion medium. This is colliding with the surface. As we increase the temperature, the collisions made by the water molecules on the surface of the colloidal particles increases. That is, the molecules of the dispersion medium making collisions with the surface of the colloidal particle and transferring their kinetic energy to this system. Therefore, the kinetic energy of these ions increases due to the more and more bombardments, that is collisions with the surface, that is the deionization takes place. That is they are converted into, they are detached from the silver ions are detached from the ions adsorbed on the surface of that is the colloidal particle is separated, that is come out. Therefore, what happens? That is from the surface ions are moved. Charge on the colloidal particle is decreased. Charge on the colloidal particle is decreased due to the desorption of that is ions from the surface of the colloidal system. Due to this, what happens? That is it acquires that becomes chargeless, or charge is decreased. Once charge is decreased or become chargeless, that is lose the charge, they combine and convert into the bigger particle and convert into that is coagulated, separated from the colloidal solution. That is called the process of separation of the dispersed phase from the dispersion medium of the colloidal system is called as the coagulation or flocculation. So this is also one of the methods of flocculation technique, right? And that is the next one is there is another procedure also we can tell, the centrifuging. So when you take the blood and centrifuge it, that is when the centrifuge is carried, that liquid comes out, superficially liquid comes out, that heavy particles move away from it due to the centrifugal force, that is they move away. So by using the mechanical start, the centrifugation, that is coagulation can be carried. See, the most important thing and practical one is these are also practical one, The other technique is the adding the electrolytes. So this is important parameter or factor for the coagulation. You know that the colloidal particles are the charged particles due to the preferential absorption of the cation or anion on the surface of the particles of the dispersed phase, right? And now what you are doing, you are trying to, in the previous techniques, rubbed off, in the previous technique, electrodialysis, that is, the other one is the electrophoresis, that is the electrodialysis, ions are removed, physically removed from the surface. Now in this technique, last technique, that is, we are coagulating, not by removing the ions from the surface of the dispersed phase. Now we are neutralizing the charge by adding the electrolyte. See, this is the colloidal particle. Say the word, it is positively charged colloidal particle. You know the reason for the charge on the colloidal particle, how it acquires the charge on the colloidal particles. Now what we are using, now it has to be coagulated. So we are keeping the ions on the surface, but we are adding the counter ions to, that is, completely neutralize the charge on this one, on the colloidal particle. It is in total, it is a positively charged colloid. It is a positively charged colloid. What we have to add? Add electrolyte. The electrolyte is composed of the cation and anion. So which neutralizes the charge? Anion neutralizes the charge. So that is, you are now eliminating the charge on the colloidal particle by adding the electrolyte. So in this process, the colloidal particle lose its charge and change into the suspension. Coagulation takes place. So by adding the electrolyte, that is, colloidal solution can be converted to the suspension or coagulation can be carried. Take the milk. If you add some acid like citric acid, that is a citric acid, lime is added to the milk, then what happens? The lime contains the electrolytes. If you add the sufficient amount of the lime, milk breaks. What is the breaking of the milk? Nothing but the dispersed phase is separated from the dispersion medium. The liquidous material left in the system container and white, the part is separated from this one. Breaking of the milk is an example of the coagulation by adding the lime. Normally that is carried by adding the lime or electrolytes, excess of electrolytes. That is this one. See, here for this, to neutralize this, what ion is required? That is anion is required. Negatively charged ion is required. The ion which the electrolyte to be added, in the electrolyte either cation or anion, that is nullify or neutralize the charge present on the colloidal solution. That is, if it is a positively charged colloid, what is required? The anion is required. Anion of salt is important. Neutralize the charge, cause the precipitation. If it is a negatively charged colloid, this is a negatively charged colloid. What happens? Electrolyte is required, but in the electrolyte, which ion is required? Which ion is this is in the action or neutralizing the charge? Cation of salt is important. That is neutralize and cause the precipitation. That is called as the coagulating ion. That ion is called as the coagulating ion or fluctuating ion, or it is also called as the active ion. Active ion, both the cases. Here anion is the coagulating ion or fluctuating ion or active ion. Here in this case, that is cationic part of the added salt is neutralizing the charge and causing the precipitation. So here the cation is the active ion, here the anion is the active ion. This is the fluctuating ion, or that is also called as the coagulating ion. If the sodium chloride is added to this, NaCl is added to this, positive charge on this, right? You are adding, as you add the more and more the charge is neutralized, that is Cl minus, neutralize this and convert into the suspension. Now chloride ion is that is precipitating agent, fluctuating agent here. Fluctuating ion or coagulating ion or active ion. Here this is here cation has to be, that is KCl or NaCl is added. Na plus ion is this one, or there is a calcium chloride is added, that is a calcium ion, or aluminum chloride is added, aluminum ion is active ion. This is like this, you can take the but anything, this is sodium chloride, or that is the magnesium sulfate. Here magnesium ion, sulfate ion, that is sodium phosphate, Na3PO4 is used. Then this is anion part of this is the PO3 3 minus ion. This is the by adding that is electrolyte, we can carry out that is fluctuation or coagulation. So that is in this technique, that is we are neutralizing the charge present on that is colloidal particle by adding the electrolyte. So in the electrolyte, if it is a negatively charged colloidal solution, if it is a negatively charged colloid, then the cationic part of the electrolyte acts as a precipitating agent, or that is the fluctuating agent, or that is active ion. So that is, if it is a positively charged colloid, then the anionic part of the electrolyte is added electrolyte is important. That is the neutralizing the charge present on the electrolyte. The large amount of the electrolyte to be added, that is in order to establish, neutralize the charge. So that is this one. Now here see the coagulating power of the electrolyte. Say that you take the positively charged electrolyte. It can be coagulated by adding the sodium chloride, that is where the chloride ion. It can be coagulated by using the magnesium sulfate, where that is anion is coagulating ion is sulfate ion. You can use that is phosphate ion, Na3PO4. This is where the anionic part is PO3 4 minus ion, and you can use that is potassium ferrocyanide ion, K4 FeCl taken 6 times, where this is anionic part is FeCN taken 6 times 4 minus ion. 4 minus ion. What is the? See, only anion will, if it is a positively charged colloidal solution, then add the electrolyte, the anion present in that is the anionic part of the electrolyte will neutralize the charge and this. The effectiveness, that is this is the anion. These all are anions only. Chloride is active, sulfate is active, that is phosphate is active, and ferrocyanide is active. Hexacyano iron 28, right? This is active. So now this is a property known as that is flocculation value or coagulation value, or we can say as which has the greater power to coagulate this positively charged colloid. Which electrolyte has the greater power to coagulate this one? The coagulating power of these are not same. All are not same. Here, each ion carries only one negative charge. Each ion carries, that is one. Each ion carries 2 units of negative charge. Each ion carries 3 units of negative charge. Each ion carries the 4 units of negative charge. So that is, one ion is neutralizing the 4 positive charges on the collider. One ion is neutralizing the 3 positive charges. One ion is neutralizing the only 2. So that is, if you compare this and this, so it neutralizes the 4 units of positive charge, one ion. One ion of this neutralizes the 2 units of positive charge. So the power, that is the 2 ions of the sulfate ion is equivalent to the 1 ion of ferrocyanide ion. The action or effect, that is the neutralization caused by the 1 ferrocyanide ion on this colloid is equal to the neutralization carried by the 2 ions of this one. Double the number of sulfate ions are required to neutralize the same extent of the charge. If you come to this, for 1, that is 1:4, that is for 1 ferrocyanide ion, the effect caused by the 1 ferrocyanide ion is that is the caused by the 4 ions of this one. One effect of the 1 mole of this is equal to effect of 4 moles of this. If it needs if a colloid needs the 1 mole of this substance, and that is and for the same substance, if you use the sodium chloride, 4 moles of sodium chloride is required. That is the coagulating power. Every electrolyte has its own coagulating power. The coagulating power of the colloid, that is the electrolyte, is proportional to the charge on the ion, charge carried by the each ion. So that is, as the charge on the ion increases, that is, coagulating power increases. So this is sodium chloride. You see the coagulating power of the potassium ferrocyanide is 4 times more than that of the coagulating power of the sodium chloride. That is, the effect of the 1 mole of the K4FeCN6 is produce the 1 mole of this and neutralize the 4 moles of the negative charge, positive charge. Whereas 1 mole of this neutralize the only 1 mole of the positive charge. So if you compare these two, that is, for 1 mole of this is the effect caused by the 1 mole of this is equal to effect caused by the 4 moles of the sodium chloride, because the charge on the ion is very less. So now what we are saying, by adding the electrolyte we can coagulate that is leophobic colloidal solution. See, the all in coagulation process, to cause the what coagulation, the effect of the all electrolytes are not same. Different electrolytes have different capacity. 3. That is the precipitating ability of the electrolyte. Precipitating ability of the electrolyte, fluctuating ability of the electrolyte depends on the charge on that is active ion, fluctuating ion. In the given electrolyte, among the cation and anion, only one ion is the active ion. That is opposite to the charge on the colloidal particle. Now, that is the coagulating power, coagulating capacity is of the given electrolyte is directly proportional to that is charge on that is the active ion. As the charge on the coagulating ion or active ion increases, that is coagulating power of the electrolyte increases, power increases. Now I am talking about a term coagulating power. The ease of precipitation, coagulating power. that is ferrous according to the this is, and there is a rule known as the Hardy, that is Hardy-Sulji rule, SCHULZE, Hardy-Sulji rule. Nothing. The coagulating power of the electrolyte is directly proportional to the precipitating power of an electrolyte is directly proportional to the square of the valency of the coagulating ion or active ion. Coagulating power is directly proportional to the square of the valency. Square of the valency of the which one? Square of the valency of the ion that is causing the precipitation. That is active ion, valency of active ion. Active ion. This is the Hardy-Sulji rule. This is known as the Hardy-Sulji rule. Valency. The ion with higher valency has the greater capacity to cause the precipitation compared to the ion which has the lower capacity. There are two things. They have given the quantitative relation. Coagulating power. Coagulating power is nothing but the C. There are two terms. Coagulating power. This is that is flocculation power. Flocculation power is one term. The other one is the coagulation value. There are two terms. Coagulation value, flocculation value. Both are same. This is different. These two are same. These two are same. Flocculation value is different. Coagulation, this is different. So power. This coagulating power is proportional to the square of the valency of the ion. Higher the valency, as the valency of the ion increases, coagulating power increases. Coagulating power increases. And this is what is the coagulation value? That is, the coagulation value is nothing but this is the quantitative relation. It is giving the quantitative relation. The quantity of the electrolyte required to cause the precipitation of 1 liter of the colloidal solution. Now you take this is the colloidal system. This is the 1 liter of colloidal solution. 1 liter of colloidal solution. This to be coagulated. Now the coagulating agent to be added. Coagulating agent contains the coagulating ion. This is added. Now, what is the coagulation value? Flocculation value, coagulation number, flocculation number. Nothing but this is the sodium chloride or whatever it is, the magnesium chloride or that's aluminum chloride or whatever it is. That is some material to be, some quantity of the coagulating agent to be, electrolyte to be added. This is coagulation value is indicating the quantity of that is given electrolyte that to be added to the 1 liter of the colloidal solution to cause that is precipitation. In 2 hours, they say the complete precipitation in 2 hours. So how it is measured in the coagulating agent or electrolyte is measured in grams or milligrams or moles or what? In millimoles. In millimoles. That is, what is the coagulating value of the, that is an electrolyte? This is number of millimoles of the electrolyte. Number of millimoles of the electrolyte that to be added to the 1 liter of colloidal solution to cause complete precipitation is called as the coagulation value of the electrolyte. Coagulation value and flocculation value is the property of the electrolyte that is added to cause the coagulation of the colloidal solution. See, that is number of milligrams of the electrolyte that to be added, or minimum number of the millimoles of the given electrolyte that to be added to a 1 liter of the colloidal solution to cause the complete precipitation in 2 hours is called as that is fluctuating value or coagulating value of the electrolyte. That is so the for sodium chloride, so the coagulation value or fluctuating value and quantity is 100. Means, what is the meaning of it? So 100 millimoles of the, to cause the precipitation of the 1 liter of a given colloidal solution, that is 100 millimoles of the sodium chloride to be added. 100 millimoles of the sodium chloride to be added. So therefore it is the flocculation value of the sodium chloride is 100. So that is, if you take the same way barium chloride, that is it's 50. Coagulation value is 50. So that is the meaning of this is 50 millimoles of the barium chloride is required to completely precipitate the 1 liter of the colloidal solution. So to precipitate the 1 liter of the given colloidal solution, 50 millimoles of the, that is barium chloride is required. Therefore, the fluctuating value or coagulating value is that is 50. Because if it is a negatively charged colloid, positive charge here plus here, that is 2 plus, that is cation valence is increased, that is the coagulating power increases as the charge, a negatively charged colloid, positively charged, this is should be increased. Positive charge should increase. As the positive charge increases, coagulating power increases. So this is double, this is and reduced to half or decreases. Therefore, that is there is a two things. Coagulating value, this is the quantity, it indicates the quantity of the electrolyte required in millimoles to cause the precipitation of the millimoles of the electrolyte that is required to cause the precipitation of 1 liter of the given given colloidal solution in 2 hours is called as that is the flocculation value or this, the coagulating value of the coagulating value and fluctuating value. These two are different. These two are different. This is the quantitative this thing. And so higher the coagulation value, flocculation value, that is lesser the protecting, that is lesser the, that is coagulating power. Coagulating power more is required, that is protect, that the coagulating power is less. Less is required, coagulating power is more. Barium chloride is that is coagulation power is more than coagulation power is more than the sodium chloride. This is the less quantity of the barium chloride, less millimoles of the barium chloride is causing the precipitation. To cause the precipitation, more millimoles of the sodium chloride is required. So coagulating power of the sodium chloride is less, coagulating power of the barium chloride is more. So now there is a two things: coagulating value, coagulating power. See, take the AlCl3. That is that is barium chloride. Take the NaCl3 compounds. Here aluminium ion. This is barium ion is responsible to cause this one Na plus ion. If it is a negatively charged colloid, that is to coagulate, these things can be added. You can add the aluminium chloride, you can add this one, you can add this one. Anything. So now as the charge increases, coagulating power increases. The coagulating power of this is more compared to this. Coagulating power is more. But coagulation value is considered. Millimoles are required to. This is more millimoles are required. This is less millimoles are required. Therefore, then what happens? The coagulation power is this. Coagulation value order is, that is sodium chloride, more millimoles of sodium chloride. If it is 300, it is 200, that's is 100, it is 200 millimoles is required, it is the 300 millimoles is required. So that is sodium chloride, this is barium chloride, this is AlCl3. Less quantity of millimoles of the AlCl3 required, more millimoles of, its millimoles must be 3 times that of this one, nearly. Approximately I am telling you. I am not taking the square into the consideration. That is, this is the barium chloride. Therefore, higher the coagulating power, and these two are the inversely related. Coagulation value is inversely proportional to the coagulating power. Not directly, coagulating power. So, smaller the value, higher the coagulating power. Coagulating value is more, the coagulating power is less. These two are related. Now, if you take the two salts, we can write it as the coagulating value of electrolyte A by coagulating value of electrolyte B is equal to the that is equal to the coagulating power of B inversely related by coagulating power of A. Power of inversely related. Higher that is coagulation value, higher the coagulating value. What is the coagulating value? Millimoles of the electrolyte required to cause the precipitation of the 1 liter of, that is given colloidal solution is called as the coagulating value. Millimoles quantity is the value, and power, that is more is required, power is less. Less millimoles is required, then power is more. These two are the inversely related. And this coagulating power depends on the charge on the according the Hartley and Filge rules. That is is proportional to the charge. as the charge on the ion increases, coagulating power increases. Therefore, if you come to that is according to Hardy-Sulji rule, that is figure FeCN taken 4 times 4 minus ion, FeCN taken 6 times, this is not 4, 6 times 4 minus ion, FeCN taken 6 times 3 minus ion, that is the plus 3 state. Therefore, this is this one. Next one is the similarly, that is sulfate ion, the divalency ion. This is the anything that is a chloride ion like this, or you can take the phosphate ion also. Normally they take the phosphate ion, common example, that is PO4 3 minus ion. This is the decreasing order of the decreasing order of the coagulating power of the different ions, anions. Similarly, cations, that is Al3 plus ion, more charge, coagulating power is more, that is the magnesium ion, that is and therefore next one is the calcium ion, same charge, that is as charge density decreases, barium ion, that is same charge, then sodium ion, then potassium ion. There are same charge density I have taken into the consideration. So this is that is Hardy and Sulji rules, that is valency decides the coagulating power of the ion. See, in the when the electrolyte is added, the either cation or anion act as an active ion. That depends on the nature of the charge on the colloidal particles. This is something about that is coagulation phenomena. Coagulation. By adding the electrolyte, that is the colloidal solution can be converted to suspension, or colloidal solution can be converted to the precipitate. That is, dispersed phase can be separated from the dispersion medium. The important method is this here, the coagulating ion, coagulation value, electrolytes are added. For a given electrolyte, there are two properties. One is the coagulation value, which indicates the quantity of the electrolyte required in millimoles to cause the complete precipitation of the 1 liter of the colloidal solution, whereas this is the coagulating power, that is the effectiveness, that is both are inversely related. So this is something about the coagulation of colloidal solutions.